somebody's like, oh, I love you, Summer, and I just want to save you from a bad situation. 90% of the time when someone takes a little girl or whatever, or boy even, 90% of the time is because they're predators. So it's just not good. Somebody has hurt her, probably sexually, maybe beat the fuck out of her, probably killed her. Let's be realistic. This ain't gonna be good. And because of all the pressure and YouTube and the TV shows and everything else, they probably wanted to get rid of the evidence and they probably killed her. I mean, let's be realistic.
So look, this is gonna divide people, I think. And look, you guys who've been around the channel a little while know that I'm not a supporter of Don. I'm not a supporter of Candace. I'm not a supporter of any of the adults that were part of Summer's life, purely because it was either their actions or their inactions that led to where we are now. However this plays out and whatever it turns out happened, it's the lifestyle that the adults choose to be part of that ultimately caused in the demise of Summer. And look, you can take this recording of Don one of two ways. And that is that you're going to take it like, this guy's sick. He's sick, he did something, and we need to keep an eye on Don, because Don is the person who's in the driver's seat, and, you know, he's the evil one. But is it that simple? Is it as simple as that? Or are we looking through to a guy who has just had enough? He's done. He knows what has happened. He knows that something happened, and he's now trying to process that in his head. He's trying to process what has happened, and he's trying to push blame onto someone else. Was this a situation that was arranged? Was it something that had been arranged? Were they trying to get money? And then it leads me to think, well, why would he be so enraged about it if he had tried to arrange it and it went wrong? And then I think to myself, would he be making these accusations and making these statements if he were directly guilty of anything? Now we look at the SA stuff with Don, and look, we have to be realistic and say there isn't anything in terms of credible and registered information anywhere that supports this. And the claims that we are all talking about go back decades, when he was a child himself. So can we truly say that we know that Don did certain things that we're looking to hang him for? And again, I'm asking the question. I'm not saying that these are things that I believe in. I just feel that we have to cover all bases. We have to accept what is sometimes there to be accepted. And what have we seen with Don? We've seen him do interviews with his son close by, like he's protecting him from something, or is he... I don't know. You tell me. Why would, in that environment, he feel that he has to have his son close by? This is when he did the interview to the media and he had his child by his side. We've heard that he's talked about Candace and her friends. And I just noticed when they were questioning whether they could have had something to do with it, and there was this snigger under his breath. Now, was that snigger representation of him saying, no, they wouldn't dare? Or was it that click into place that, yeah, they probably did, but I'm not in a position to say that they did? That defeatist. Don seems defeated. he seems defeated. He's been inside, so don't get me wrong. He's not been part of the picture. He's not been able to be embroiled in the drama. But then I think to myself, would there be as much drama for Summer if Don hadn't have been imprisoned? You tell me. Would the dynamic we are seeing online be the same if Don was out? Because this circus has not been controlled by Don. Not from what I can see. We're seeing through the eyes of Candace, and we're seeing through the eyes of the people that surrounds her. We would be led to believe that the last people to see Summer was Candace, Grandis, Hunter, and the boys. Could Don have been called to cover something up? Would they have called Don? I think they would have had to have done. Maybe that time frame was wondering how they were going to explain things to Don. Maybe that's what the gap of time is. But what have we truly seen that states that Don did something to Summer? Even if we reference things that Jose has said. Now, it seems to me that Candace and Grandis were lazy. They allowed the children to run about and do whatever they want. Jose, by his own admission, stated that Summer had ran off on numerous occasions, to the point where Jose had said, you need to sort the lockout and keep more of an eye. Because if we look at the time frame, Jose actually only spent a couple of days or so with Don because Don was away. He was working. So the lifestyle and the things that were going on at the house, in terms of what we know about Hunter and Candace, and that is only through what Jose said. And I'm sure he's got receipts for that, for those accusations that he made. About a child, by the way. But if these accusations are true, and he does have the receipts to prove, this all happened in Don's absence. He wasn't there. He was working away. And he was sending money for food. Apparently, Jose had stated that he was paying $100 a week to live there. I don't know how that pans round to the money and the work and how that all works in with the time frame when you consider we're looking at a 6-week scenario. I don't know. But much of this story doesn't paint Don out to be a horrendous person. He was away working and sending money home while people were sleeping around and partying and drinking and doing all sorts in his house. And even the day that Summer was eventually found to have gone missing, Don was at work. Don has consistently protected Candace. But yet, in his absence, we heard Candace state that she didn't love Don. She wasn't in love with Don. He was the father of her children. We know that Candace had already lost children previously. And Candace is a person who has been connected to drugs and abuse and all sorts throughout her life from a teenage time. So you tell me, because I'm just trying to get in my head what happened. What could have happened? Could this have been a land dispute? Could this have been something to do with 110 Ben Hill Road? And people connected with the church and connected to this area who felt that this family didn't deserve this land or shouldn't have this land. Had Candace tried to sell the property without Don knowing while he was away? Is that what Jose and the group were coming for? To buy the property, which then turns out it cannot be sold. Because Candace has no rights to it. So she can't sell it. Again, when we think about Summer herself and what could have happened, there are only a few different situations. And I'm trying to work out the situation that Don fits into. And if Don fits into a situation that includes someone like Tim Mullen, for instance, then we are looking down the route of a potential land drug orientated scenario. And if that's the case, then that is going to implicate the likes of Andrew. It's going to implicate the likes of Jose. Because I'm not buying it that this group of people got a U-Haul van and headed over to buy a property that wasn't set in stone, paperwork hadn't been signed, and this was some sort of legitimate purchase that just fell through. It just don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. And then you're supposed to be led to believe that Don is this monster, this vicious monster, but yet he allowed Jose, who he apparently didn't know, so would have been a stranger to him, in his home to lay hands on his child while she was nude without excessive confrontation. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't have the best of both worlds. You can't say this guy is capable of murder and killing his child, or he feels that she's his possession and wouldn't let anybody else near her. She's his, ferociously his, but yet he would allow a stranger to do that in his own home and disrespect him in an area that will not put up with that. I'm trying to get my head around it, but the more I look into it, the more we pick this place apart and the people within it. I feel that if you are still at this point looking at Don, and Don being the true perpetrator of everything, I think you might have missed something. I truly do. And I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm certainly not. I'm just telling you where I'm at up to now, taking everything in and really listening to what everyone's saying. Something ain't sitting right. And on the balance of scales, if you've got Candace and her lifestyle and what we know and what we've seen and what she's consistently doing with trying to pass the blame, force it on everybody else and throw everybody under the bus and detach herself from it, against Don and the probability that he had something directly or indirectly involved in his daughter's disappearance, the scale is like, who's guilty? Let me know where you're at up to now and truly why you feel the way you do. Thank you for watching.